This gun is much heavier than that gun because of the thickness of the barrel. This gun weighs about 15 pounds or so.
Yeah. Oh, it's much heavier. You were holding it up like it was really light.
Well, I'm nice and strong, so.
Like it's so heavy.
That gun, everyone thinks that that gun is super heavy. We always have tons of people comment, man, that gun is so heavy. I don't know how to carry that around. It weighs the same as a gallon of milk. It's about 10 pounds. We've had women comment on how heavy that gun is, and then I asked to hold their purse, and their purse weighs twice as much as that gun. The other interesting thing is the weight of that gun is the exact same weight as a fully loaded M1 Garand, which we used during World War II. So the guns we're using in World War II weigh the same as the guns we're using during the American Revolution. Same principle, being that they are flintlocks. The two main components of a flintlock that make the whole gun work are contained right here on this lock, right here. One of three main parts of the gun. You've got the lock, you've got the stock, which is the wood part, and you've got the barrel. Why we still use lock, stock, and barrel for the whole thing. It comes from this. On the lock, we've got two very important pieces. Right here, we've got a piece, what's called the cock. In the jaws of the cock is a small piece of sharpened stone, what is called flint. Now, flint is a very hard stone. In fact, it is harder than this piece on the gun, which is called the steel. And what do you think that's made out of? Steel. Good job. The flint being harder than the steel and sharp, when it hits that steel, it actually shaves off a microscopic layer of that steel in hot sparks. Those hot sparks then fall in the pan, right here, a shallow depression on the side of the gun that holds gunpowder. As you can see, people who named gun parts in the 18th century aren't terribly creative, okay? When the gunpowder in the pan goes off, hot gases and flames are transferred through the touch hole, a tiny hole at the back of the barrel, into the barrel where the rest of the gunpowder is. That gunpowder ignites and propels the ball forwards out of the barrel. Both of these guns work that way. They're different in that what is on the inside of the barrel. The gun that I've been showing you is what we refer to as a rifle. On the inside of the barrel are a series of grooves that are cut into the barrel. What this does is it spins the bullet on its axis as it comes out of the gun, stabilizing it in flight and making it more accurate. It's the difference between me throwing a football and Ben Roethlisberger throwing a football, okay? The problem is to use this gun, you have to be very precise in the loading and firing process. Something that's great when you're shooting at a deer, which doesn't shoot back at you, not so great on the battlefield when people are shooting back at you. So a trained soldier on the 18th century battlefield may be able to get off 1 to 2 rounds a minute with this particular gun. Granted, they can hit a target at a much longer distance, more accurately than that gun, but they're at a severe disadvantage because of how fast they can fire. The gun that Justin is going to be firing this evening is a smoothbore military musket. As crazy as it sounds, this is the machine gun of the 18th century. And so accuracy is not what's important with these guns. This same principle is even in today's military, where machine guns are not terribly accurate. You're just looking at putting lead down the battlefield. And this is what this gun will do for you. The other advantage to this gun is it's incredibly robustly built. This thing can get dragged around, taken on campaign through mud, water, snow, and it's still going to keep working. The other advantage that this gun has over a rifle is that it can mount a bayonet, essentially turning this into 2 weapons. So no longer in your military do you have to have a group of pikemen or spearmen and a group of guys with muskets. Now everyone's got a pike and everyone's got a musket. It's a really wonderful technological advancement that comes around at the end of the 17th century. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take Justin through the loading and firing procedure. I'm going to step out of the... This gun is a 75 caliber, meaning that the inside of the barrel is 3/4 of an inch across. The ball he's going to be using is 69 caliber, so a pretty big, almost an ounce-sized piece of soft lead that will be coming out of this gun if he were to be firing it live in the 18th century. He will rip open that cartridge and prime pan. Pour a small amount of that powder into the pan. This is where the spark will fall and ignite the powder. Next, he will cast about and charge with cartridge. Pour the rest of the powder, ball, and paper down the barrel. He will then withdraw rammer and ram charge, firmly seating everything down the barrel. He'll return his rammer so that he can continue using his gun in the battle. and come to the shoulder. This signifies to the officer that he is loaded and ready to fire. And when the officer sees the whole line of men in this position, and all of you are safely behind, and children who are afraid of loud noises have their ears covered, he will then give the command to make ready, preset, and fire. Like so. Now, two things you'll notice about the discharge of that gun. Number one, it's really loud, and number two, it's really smoky. This leads to two things on the 18th century battlefield. One, to deal with the noise, we use drums to communicate. Now again, a trained soldier should be able to do this in 15 to 20 seconds, so there's no pressure for Justin this evening with this crowd. "23 seconds, not bad. See how fast he can get off that second shot. That too was about 23, 22 seconds right there. So you're good, Justin. You're good.